Hi everyone, it's me, Decorating Sister. I just recently got back from a 4-day trip to High Point, North Carolina. As you know, every 6 months or twice a year there's a furniture market there. And there was a big controversy going on about this bill called No to HB 2. And this sticker here was passed out to participants of the market, and it was a bill concerning the right for the LGBT community to use restrooms not according to their assigned birth gender. And it was a lot of buzz around the city or the town during this time period. It was very interesting to me that it was a different type of market this time. I've been attending the market off and on for 15 years, and to me it just seemed like there was a good shift this year. People were more friendly, more open. You know, my first time going to market, I noticed it was a male-dominated industry. And I says to myself, well, where are all the designers? They were there, but not like they are today. Back then, it was kind of a type of situation where you had to have a big box store or, you know, a retail space to purchase there. And very few showrooms were designer friendly. But some things were going on that, you know, just really spoke to me about what I'm feeling at this point in my career. And I want to be the voice to address some of those issues. The scary part about it is that when you address issues of historical value and content, people tend to think that you're a rebel, you're Afrocentric, you're trying to stir up problems, you know, just let bygones be bygones. But when you ask someone to forget their history, forget where they come from, to me, that is a cop-out. And the next generation will continue to endure and face the same problems that those who have come before them. Recently, we had a conference call. There were people on this call, African American female interior designers from several states. And it was disheartening to me to hear about these young ladies who are coming out of colleges with $60,000, $70,000 worth of debt for interior design school, only to end up working in a paint store or a fabric store, a furniture store at 5% commission, that they're not being looked at by design firms. You know, then you have to become independent so you can use your creativity and build a client base to actually just do the work. I recently put a post up in a Facebook group that is a mixture, predominantly European designers, white designers. And I asked the question, how many of you here, I'm writing a book, how many of you here would like to see more African American designers published? And have you ever worked with a African American person or been in their home to see how they live? I got several different types of comments back. It was a long period of silence until finally someone stepped out of the shadows and made a comment. I was not asking for feedback on race relations, just a perspective of, would you like to see this? Someone with a design background, I love to see different aesthetics and cultures and see how they think. I have books on Asian, German, all type, Britain, London, all over the world. I have books on different design aesthetics. And I'm just going to read one of the most upsetting phrases that I found was this: "That's a tough question, Celeste. I don't see people in terms of color, ethnicity, etc. When you say see how we live, you make it sound like it sounds like that you live differently than everyone else. I have seen hundreds of homes of people of different backgrounds, and I don't have an expectation of what other groups of people live like." And it goes on and on and on, no matter what the background or lifestyle. That's just my 2 cents. And really, it is 2 cents. Because if you look at the other 98 cents that's out there, people of different ethnicities and backgrounds do live different. They're attracted to different things. Their income levels are different. And so they're not privileged to certain things. So there's a lot of different dynamics that go on when it comes to interior design being a multi-billion-dollar business, but yet we as African Americans have less than 1% of that market share, though we contribute a larger percentage to the marketplace. As I was strolling along through High Point in the market, I came across over 50 African American interior designers that I met for the first time. I approached them, I spoke with them, I got their information, and they had similar sentiments that it was time for a change. There needs to be a shift. It was really funny to me that the shift is going to happen because they were fighting for the lesbian, transgender, gay, LGBT community. But as African American women designers, we kind of are seen as colorless. And I say it's time to stop being colorblind and be color brave, because you should see me. You should acknowledge me. You should acknowledge my history. You should acknowledge my different background, as well as I acknowledge yours. But most people have no choice but to acknowledge what the mainstream shows as beauty, as aesthetically pleasing. And yes, there are a lot of differences in cultures. If you just stop and take a look and understand that, and invite someone over to your home who is of a different background and get to know that person, get to see how their creative juices and energy flow and what they like in their home and what their style is. Because the editors of popular magazines that I've been a consumer of for over 20 years, they show us, they tell us what is accepted, what is beautiful, what is mainstream America, what people love. But I say that it's time for them to take a second look and use a different lens to understand design from a non-biased perspective. We all know, those of us who have had any type of training, know that there are design principles. And I think that's what they should be, kind of looking at, to see if a person has that within them, and then look at the creativity and talent that goes with the person. Because like I said earlier, I think it's a crying shame that all of these women are coming, and some men, I'm not discriminating against the men, but I'm just speaking from an African American female perspective, because that's where my passion lies. That they take a second look at the talent that is out there. It's a shame that someone has to come out of school already in debt to go work in a paint store, and they never get to really experience that full creative outlet of interior design. Now, when we see magazines, such as this right here. We thumb through it and we say, okay, they say that this is beautiful, okay? Which it may be beautiful to some people. But when this is the only kind of perspective that you have and the only vehicle that you have, to me, the lens is very tunnel vision. I think it's, a tunnel vision to say, this is the only way. This is what we want. And I think it's time that we as African American females come together, that we support one another, that we show up in numbers, we let them see the best of our work, the best of our talents, and, shift this energy of red, white, and blue. I will show you a picture of an interior that is done by an African American female. That there's so much in here. By the way, this is Iconic Home. It is a journal dedicated to African American interior designers. We look forward to it coming. Here is a room done by an African American female. Gotta plug that. And the work is beautiful. She's talented. We have black and African American designers all over the world, but yet we go under the radar. And so, being at High Point, this market, in 15 years, I've never met over 50, and I have to go back to show you, over 50 African American interior designers, the majority being female. So I say, I agree, design is our business, no discrimination. And whether this discrimination is institutionalized or just cultured because of the long standing, and maybe it's not blatant, but it's the powers that be, and I feel like some of them and their philosophies are dying off. There's a new generation that's coming up behind us. So I think that it's time that if you're a firm, that you take a look at some of those applications and some of those students that are graduating. And, just have an open mind. And like I said, be color brave, not color blind, because to say you don't see people as in color or ethnicity is to deny that there's a problem. And a lot of these issues are being dealt with on other fronts, but the interior design industry has a gate all around it. And if you're lucky to step in that gate and make a success of your career in this field, it's a wonderful thing. But I say we should tear that gate down and be more open and flexible. It's just like the old adage that we don't care about our homes. We don't care about our lawns. In fact, there are many African American people who have beautiful homes, beautiful gardens. The Atlanta AJC had a black gardener for many years who had the home and the garden column. So there are people, we are just under the radar, and it's time that the radar be removed. It's like a stealth bomber. You don't see it coming. But I'm here to tell you that there is a shift and that we're here and we are going to be just like that rainbow. You're going to see all shades, all colors of us coming together. And this has been very stressful, but I'm so glad I got it out. I'm going to have me a cocktail. And I want you to stir up these words, marinate on them, take a sip, and deal with it.